Good evening. The, ladies and gentlemen, the person speaking is Mr. Bruno Corà. He's speaking to the public and friends in the name of the foundation of Palazzo Albizzini Collezioni Burri, where I have the honor to be the president of the Administrative Council. I salute everybody warmly, the authorities from the military and the religious, various members of the House of Commons in Rome who are present here today. There's some people who come from the regional council, Mrs. Cecchini, Bracco, Dottorini, Lignani Marchesani, all from the Umbrian Council. I'd also like to say hello to lots of people who are here, other than the people I've mentioned, but friends who've come from many areas. Because it's a solemn moment, I think we should make an applause for Burri. It's an extraordinary moment that we're here today to celebrate in this solemn way the centenary of the birth of Alberto Burri. He was a great artist, and so the whole of Città di Castello and the Umbria region and Italy is honored to have given birth to this man. At the table here today, and I thank for their presence, the Undersecretary of State, Ilaria Borletti Buitini MP, who is the Undersecretary of State for Heritage, Culture and Tourism. Also, I say hello to the President of the Umbria region, Mrs. Catiuscia Marini, and the Mayor of Città di Castello, Luciano Bacchetta, who has let us use this room, which has this link with the Foundation Albizzini Collezioni Burri and this town. So this evening will be showing the various initiatives of what will be happening during this centenary. So now my word goes to the Ilaria Borletti Buitoni MP. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here again, very happy. It's a small but great capital of culture. The Minister of Culture is very near to Città di Castello and near to the celebration. The Minister was in Città di Castello yesterday. So the Minister of Culture wants to be near to Burri in this celebration. There's something that I've always been moved by the life of Burri. It's the fact that his talent, his extraordinary talent, exploded in it happened inside a concentration camp in Texas. The talent is a gift. Religious people would say a divine gift. But he had an extraordinary gift, which was freed even in the most extraordinary and sad circumstances, like in a concentration camp. So it's the celebrating today this extraordinary artist who opened roads and brought his talent to the world. And he brought innovation to various schools of art. We've got to think of two reflections. Talent never must be killed. It never must be suffocated, because talent brings light and brings it to the world and society. And our society is guilty if it doesn't give value to this. Secondly, we're celebrating a great Italian man, So this Italian man who must make us feel proud to be Italian and to be in a country which produces geniuses, capacity. So this pride, especially in a moment of crisis which we are still going through now. So it will give us the hope to start again. So thank you again to Burri. So now Mrs. Marini, the President of the Umbria region, will speak. Thank you. Above everything else, Mr. Bruno Coran, who is the President of the Palazzo Albaicini, the Collezione Burri, the Mayor of Città di Castello, Luciano Bacchetta. Thank you for this day of celebration. And thank you to all the authorities who are here today and the citizens of Città di Castello and friends, the historians of arts, the art critics, the people who've just got, who are fans of Burri and the community of Città di Castello. And I'd like to also thank the Ministry of Heritage, Culture and Tourism. Yesterday, the minister came to see this day. And also thanks to the MPs who have collaborated and allowed and supported this committee to be formed to celebrate the centenary. I'd also like to thank in particular the President of the Republic of Italy, who have given their whole support for this day. And also to all of the exhibitions which will happen during this centenary. It's an honor for me to be here to represent the Umbria region in this day of celebration. But I would also like to leave my institutional role for a moment. But I'm now becoming a fan of modern art. It's also an honor for me to come and say hello. It's a great party, it's a great festival, starting here from the community of Città di Castello, and it's a homage from his own town and Umbria. It's a day which is really showing the beginning of a series of celebrations and showing also some work that the foundation has been doing. And there will be days dedicated to study. Also the reconstruction of the Teatro Continuo in Parco Sempione in Milan. Also in Sicily. So maybe in the past they weren't so good at looking after the Grande Creto, which is in Sicily. But now they're working on it again. So in October there will be some days dedicated in New York. And so as a region we are hoping to, and we will be supporting these initiatives to show our support for this artistic message of Alberto Burri. So there also will be a new general catalogue of his works. Many years ago, there were people who met Ludovico Currao, who was the mayor of Ghibellina, where the Grande Creto is. And he came to Città di Castello, and he met Alberto Burri in Città di Castello. And he told why he had thought of Alberto Burri and why he had constructed this extraordinary idea, which is like all of the extraordinary works of art and ideas of contemporary art. But sometimes they do find the support of these communities. But this town, after an earthquake, for him, Alberto Burri was the sign to leave in that devastated area. And so, as some historians have written, he also represented a character, a romantic character, also even spiritual, which Alberto Burri was. He was not only born in Città di Castello, but also in Umbria. But there is a deep link of the areas of his youth and friendship, of his human contact, and the most deep-rooted relationships which he never interrupted. So we're also honored to have Alberto Burri's pieces of art in some of the greatest museums in the world, which also shows this region and this town. But he also has many critics have told. He also told the story of this town, but also the story of the ancient history of this town. So thank you, Alberto, because this was one of the greatest and extraordinary collections of modern art, and it's here in this town, and also represents the vitality and the message. Maurizio Calvesi said that Burri is one of the greatest exponents of modern art. So in an area where we have many buildings and pictures, paintings, but Alberto Burri's pictures are the sign and symbol of energy. So in 1 second, we can think of these areas of Piero della Francesco, Giotto, in Assisi, but at the same time, we have also the creativity of the modern artist of Alberto Burri. So as president of the Umbria region, I can only say that the great Burri wanted, through his foundation, also through the tobacco processing factory, but his collections in Palazzo Albizi, he wanted to create something which was the protection and the expansion of artistic creation. I read that he moaned quite a lot, that people he didn't like being reminded also, but he didn't like being called the artist of the sacks, the burlap sacks. But when we were young, studying history of art, it was what we noticed more about him. But he was an artist who used strange materials, the burlap sacks, plastic, iron. And it was his way of being contemporary. So when Bucarelli said in the Gallery of Modern Art in Rome, he had the courage to have an exhibition on Burri of his sacks, and people said that it was scandalous when a temple of art in the National Art Gallery that they could have an exhibition of sacks which were by Alberto Burri, but he was quite somebody who could anticipate the creativity on this art. And so as an Umbrian person, it's a great honor that a place which is the symbol of this area, which represents the complex history of Perugia, where the popes came, and where also we have the restoration of modern mobility. So there's also a sculpture of Burri in Perugia. In the Council of Perugia will restore this work of art. So in honor of this centenary, they will give this back the physical space and the dignity to this sculpture of Burri, which is in Perugia. So the homage that we are doing to him, it's an important homage of this region, which has not only been touched by ancient history and the Renaissance, but also the sign of a modern artist in the place where there was Perugino, Raffaello, Piero della Francesca. It was a crossroads of these great artists. So through the shape, the color, the sculpture, the painting, the great graphics and material. So art threw itself into contemporary with Burri, thanks to Burri. So I'm going to conclude here saying thanks in the name of the Umbria region, a master who was one of the most significant of his time for his courage and his innovation. Life in art with the sax, iron, those colors, something which throws life into art. And we are proud to be sons of this area, this town, and of Umbria, because we had him as one of our illustrious sons, because the fact that of the link, the deep link that he wanted to leave us with his work of arts, with his collections, which have linked him with Città di Castello forever and immortal. Thank you again, and enjoy this centenary. Thank you again, Mrs. Marini. So now the Mayor of Città di Castello, Luciano Bacchetta, is speaking. So again, as Mr. Corà said, I thank all of the authorities who are here. Also, I thank the people from Città di Castello who have wanted to take up this invitation to participate in these inaugural events for the centenary of Burri. We have made a bet when we started this committee in the Burri Foundation. When we saw that there was this centenary happening, we didn't want it to be had to happen in a banal way. We wanted it so that the whole of the town could become a possessor again of the figure of Burri in a sentimental and real way. So in the past, this immense patrimony, cultural patrimony of Burri has been preserved. But we needed to make a leap of quality. And the only way we could do this would have been in the occasion of the centenary. And we did this so that Burri does become a heritage of the whole city. I mean, we don't want to do it just for campanilism, but because he's so famous. But Città di Castello must be proud and conscious of the great gift that Burri wanted to give to the people of Città di Castello, and they must be able to realize and welcome this gift. And sometimes in the past, not everybody has done this through a common responsibility, even due to the local council. So now, with great courage, we are trying to make right what we did. So now in this council room, we knew that we'd be a little bit tight because some people couldn't come into the room; they remained outside. But 100 years in this council room, but it's showing the great value, the symbolic value of the council and the people of Città di Castello, because the Burri Foundation is sensitive to understand the desires of the council, but also the desires which even Burri would have had when he left his cultural patrimony to the town. So it's 100 years of this bet that we must live, experience, but we don't need to win. So in October there will be also an exhibition in Guggenheim Museum in New York. So there's lots of things which will be happening here in Città di Castello and other places. In June, also in the months of 2016, there will be other events happening. Also in Palazzo Vitelli in Sant'Egidio in Città di Castello. Also, thanks to the region, we will be able to carry out these exhibitions. So Città di Castello will be dressed for a party for this centenary. And I think that you can already say that it has known how to take advantage of this opportunity which we have had, because it's right and our duty to welcome and honor this man. It's 100 years, it must be a people's festival. And it's really important that the people from Città di Castello are involved in this celebration. So, in the following weeks, there will be also an official twinning of the town of Gibellina in Sicily, and what it meant to Burri, the great Cretto, the symbolic value of this splendid and even strange work. Here you can see the mayor of Gibellina in Sicily, who has come today. Rosario Fontana, his friend. So when the Grande Cretto will be restored and returned to Sicily, there will be a twinning between these two towns, and it's a great honor and duty that these two towns will be able to have this twinning. There's an air of Burri in this town, and Burri adored the town. So these 100 years must be a time for us to grow, because I believe that Città di Castello has a great opportunity that it mustn't waste. And we haven't got any alibis, because the Burri Foundation has worked a lot and well. They've carried out things with a lot of courage. And so the Burri Foundation is also proud of its link with the town. So we haven't got any alibis. So our town must be able to live up to this centenary, because it's also a window for us to the world, and so we must be able to take advantage of it. So thanks again, and I'm sorry again that there isn't a lot of room, but we wanted to do it here in this room. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Luciano Bacchetta. Our evening's continuing. So I wanted to underline the people who were invited here. So people who will have noticed that we published, with the portrait of Burri, there was a picture of two paintings and a sculpture. The two works are a burlap sack and a cellotex, which underlines almost like a beginning and a conclusion of the creation of Burri. The sack is 1950. We know that he had already made other experiences with tar and mold, as well as the time when he was in Texas, in prison, when he came to Rome for his first personal exhibitions, which were... So Sinisgalli also wrote about him in his works. So this asterisk, it's significant for us, because Burri said, he always said that he only made one work, the same work, but the periods the linguistic conditions talk about shape from one to another. So after the burlap sacks, the wood, the iron, the plastic. So, so, so everything that you can see on the screen behind me. So the public who's looking, they'll be able to see the articulation of the genial of articulation of this artist. So for me, when I was studying this personality, to ask myself, so how did he get the authority to produce everything that he produced ex novo with having anything on his shoulders apart from the only tradition, the pictorial tradition from Italy and Europe, because Burri in reality, I mean, as he said, he breathed the air, the shape, and the great personalities, experiences. But then he turned the page, completely the page. He wasn't somebody who continued the work, but he was an innovator, a revolutionary. So I asked myself, so all of this today, the young people, all his works are for the young people. It's because all work is given for the young people. So if the young people understand, because it's quite easy, you can put something on a canvas, an object, and find something which has already been done, like Marcel Duchamp did. But you've always got to remember who did it before, why he did it, what did it mean, and what did it mean doing that in that way. But I don't want to give you a lesson today, but I think it's important that everybody realizes what Burri's lesson is, because otherwise we're just going to be celebrating something which is already consolidated. But Burri, he completely broke from the horizon, the pictorial sense which was happening in the 40s and 50s. He turned it over completely. So with a lot of courage. So the American historians will be mentioning this in Guggenheim exhibition in New York. They said that Burri, he literally uphinges what was happening in art before. So that's really an important recognition for him. So they're saying that from the New Dada artists. He seems to be ahead of them. But I don't want to open some old diatribes. But it was he who was the master of Rauschenberg, the master of Jasper Jones. So, or the whole generation, which was celebrated which was the artist of the American bicentenary, and they were celebrated a lot. But Burri was their master, he was their teacher. And now the Americans are talking about this. Emily Brown, the curator, will mention this, and so it will be an important international exhibition because it will re-establish the priorities and the lesson of Alberto Burri. So I wanted to say a few words about this today. So as I say, talking about Burri means to take act of the new configuration of art, which he opened and established. Because when Burri started this activity in 47 or 48, he was doing figurative art and some abstract, and the polemics were about if you had to show something with mimesis or not. Fascism had prevented the experiences of the avant-garde from Europe, but Burri on his own, who started in this concentration camp, as the Undersecretary had mentioned, the conditions in which he started to paint So on his own, some officers gave him some paintbrushes and some colour. So if you get bored, then start painting. So he wasn't an ignorant man. He was an educated man. He was a man who had a degree in medicine, who had studied the classics. So, but as a pictorian, he had fasted. So this is what's extraordinary about Burri. So sometimes when we're in the classrooms and we're talking to young people, so I can do this too. So do this for the whole of your life when nobody else has done it, and like Burri had, because Burri introduced a new language, which is a new language, which affirms that he's a teacher. So to celebrate this teacher, so we must take act of the young people who don't do art as much as other people. So to celebrate this artist, maybe we've got too much meat on the barbecue here, but so the cities who are preparing to celebrate Burri in Italy are Milan, Palermo, Rome, Pistoia, Ghibellina, Florence. Again, also got to talk about New York, Seoul, Tehran, Brussels. But there's lots of things happening for Burri. So we're quite prudent in this region. So where Burri breathed the air of the great artist. So in San Sepolcro, there was the first art exhibition. We had the confrontation between Burri and Piero della Francesca. So these two great artists. So this comparison is in the fact that the relationships that these two artists have had and shared, the color. So if we look at the sack, which was the work of art which was used in this, with the resurrection by Piero della Francesca, you'll find the same colors, the burnt colors, but also there's been a change, but there isn't a representation. So in Burri there is real life, it's a real material, live material. So we've got another encounter at the end of May in Morra, in the oratory in San Crescentino. There will be some more comparisons and an exhibition with Luca Signorelli, which have been restored thanks to Burri. He paid for it. So the Feltrinelli Prize, they wanted to restore these amazing works by Luca Signorelli inside this church. So we will, so Nemo and Alvaro Sartenesi, but they're also members of the foundation of Burri. So these men have always been a part of the life of Città di Castello. So thanks to this association, they managed to restore these works of art. So the friends of the Upper Tiber Valley. So with them, there will be this collaboration to celebrate Signorelli and Burri. Again, there will be some scholars from the whole of the world. There'll be a conference on these works. It will be a lecture for everybody, and it will show us how we shall go ahead with the traces that Burri left us of how to save these works of art, and because he believed in the importance of these old works of art. He wanted to restore it and to make it go ahead, to renew it. We've got a lot of things in the program. There will be the opening of the Teatro Continuo in the Parco Sempione in Milan. So there was a holding of lawyers, CTM, who have financed this restoration of this theatre, of this work of art, which was built in 73 for the Triennale in Milan with Burri. There was Giorgio De Chirico, Armand, lots of other artists. And Burri made this Teatro Continuo. So it was a request which came from the social sector, the civil sector, the street theatre, so the youth theatre, which could have been carried out everywhere. And he understood this, and he created a theatre for everybody, where everybody could come that day and night onto the stage and dance, where you could put on a mask and act. So there was another sign, like in Ghibellina. It was a sign of intuition, great intuition. So that shows that art can have a relationship with social and with people, and knowing that art is the absolutely useless activity which only serves for itself. It only serves to improve yourself, your consciousness. So this work will be restored in Milan, and we're also there, and we'll be giving our scientific contribution. We will give a donation to this because Burri made it for Milan. Burri was upset when it was demolished in 1989. So we thought it was a good idea to restore it when the whole Triennale, this exhibition, asked us to do it again. So also, as in Ghibellina, like the mayor from Ghibellina can tell us. So he'll show us how much. We can see how this restoration work is going ahead. We can see how the Creto is going ahead. Then you can see the restoration work here. Also, we want to group together here in Città di Castello, in one of the most prestigious seats in Palazzo Vitelli Sant'Egidio. There's also its park behind it with its garden. So there, in this area, we want to have an exhibition which will be with the tobacco processing factory. It will be a conference of 73 artists, 9 tables with 7 artists on each table. So all of these artists will discuss something from our art and the market, art and the economy, art and religion. So there's also a new demand from the ecclesiastical sense. So artists need to be, so they can produce works for churches. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to ask questions about it. Because there's been quite a long interval, if we can do it. Because in the free time we've had abstract art, so things have changed. But sorry if I'm talking about this, but I think it's important. The papers talk about the opportunity about, but we never hear what artists have to say directly. So we want to know what the artists actually think about these various discussions, the various themes. So there'll be lots of different themes that we'll be talking about. And there'll be scholars and curators from European museums. And afterwards, we will publish the acts from this conference. And there will be an exhibition held, a congress, a sort of parliament, of a European parliament of artists. So you can imagine, in the name of Burri, because we're doing it here in Burri. So his works of art will also be in Palazzo Vitelli. So we've been working on this sort of brick for 4 or 5 years. 6 volumes. It took a long time. It was tiring. We're doing it, but there were some young people who worked on it. So thank you to all the young people who were working on it. So if you can see on the screen behind me some of the pages, they told me. So otherwise I'm going to turn the pages of the catalogue. You can see there's a different feel to the work. Burri had already worked on a systematic catalogue, but we've given more luster to the works. They're bigger, they're represented better. So with this being updated, we know that Burri died 20 years ago. So after 20 years, so we've had to update the catalogue. So this was the older work. So we're very proud of this new catalogue. So if you want to buy it, you have to book it, and it will help the foundation. So in Perugia, there will be another conference in the University of Perugia. But this will be a theoretical, reflexive conference on the work of Burri. There will be invitations. It will be a high-level event because we want to have the best of the critics and the historical minds who talk about him. But we know that Burri preferred talks about the hunters or the footballers. Those were his real passion. He didn't like talking about art as much. Sometimes, though, he did make some considerations. And even the best times, he gave some extraordinary criticisms. One name. So now it's 101 years. Emilio Villa, a poet, and he was also a critic. And also others who have been, Cesare Brandi. He was also our activities of research and study. But we want to have some material, form, space. Material, form, and space. It's the title of the conference in Perugia. And so the painting of Burri. So with this material, he created painting. He gave an exercise of form, shape. So it will be an important event at an international level. I think a lot of people will be coming. And there will also be the production of a film about the life of Burri. So that will be done by one of our councillors from the foundation who will organize this film, which we will produce faithfully to the life of Burri, to his works and gesture. So 9th of October, we're all going to New York to support our champion in America. So it's the second time that there will be an exhibition on Burri. In the 70s, I think in 77, there was an exhibition. And Nemo Sartenesi was alive at that time. And he was the curator of this exhibition. So now there will be another introspective of Burri. And so there'll be lots of adjustments and some precisions, and that's very important. So last but not least, what we say? So we will come back here. There'll be a big exhibition together with our friends of the foundation and the association of Palazzo Sant'Egidio, and also with the foundation of the Building Society. in collaboration with the Guggenheim. So some works which have been exhibited abroad, and they will return here. And so we will also take some works from these other places. So these are the activities which will be happening during this year. So now we're breaking a little bit because it's almost too much happening. But we want to do everything, but we want to do it well. Otherwise, it just gets a bit dangerous. So what's happening this evening? So after this conference, we will leave. We will walk out into the square, which you will see it's been lighted, the path that we must take. It's been lit up, and we will stop in various places. So we're going to go to Burri's birth house, where he was born. And there's a film which is being projected there. So we can look at this film. And after that, we'll go to the theatre of Città di Castello. And there will be a concert, which will a concert of 1 hour. Ensemble Suono Giallo, Yellow Sound. It's a group which has carried out some pieces, which, thanks to the maestri that I will list now. Mauro Porro. They're all pieces dedicated to Burri, so Big Iron, Ada Gentile, a composer, Come un soffio, Fabrizio De Rossi, Big Black, Christian Carrara, White, Alessandro Spara, Roberto Fabricena, The Primavera, Nicola Sarni, Vito Palumbo, Stefano Taglietti Gibellina, dedicated to Sicily, Salvatore Di Vittorio, Castle, the Ensemble Suono Giallo. Let's see if we can find the artist names.
L'ensemble Suono Giallo è composto da Andrea
Biagini,
flauti,
on flute, Fabio Battistelli, Michele Bianchini. There's clarinet, saxophone, Laura Mancini, percussion, Simone Nocchi on the piano. So the evening will be we'll finish with a buffet after this. So maybe Burri would have enjoyed that too.